Hello and welcome. In this video, we are going to start converting all our detections that we created in our 3 attack scenarios and convert it into the TOML format that we need to have these working for the rest of the course. Okay. So first thing we can do, instead of using this custom alerts tab where we have for our TOML testing, and we'll use this later in the course as well, let's make another folder. We're going to call it converted detections. And what we could do is take this template that we've already created and place it in the folder. And to start, I'm going to create the first 2 documents for our first attack scenario, and then I'll fast forward the video going through the rest of them. Okay, I don't think it's worth you all just watching me copy and paste different values. Okay, so what we can do is start editing our template here. So first off, let's rename it. And let's call it web scanner activity Nicto, but we're going to use the same underscore kind of format that Elastic uses. Then what we can do is start filling this in here. So for name, and the query we can throw in here as well. This is a query type of an alert. We don't need any tags. We don't need any notes. Okay. Description. And we could leave that comment. Going down here, we didn't really mess with our risk score values so far in the course, which is for the sake of having some differentiated values. Let's give this a risk score of 25 and maybe the severity a low. Okay. And next up, we can edit some of our MITRE information here. So if we remember, this alert was using network service discovery. So it's T1046. And we can just start copying and pasting these values in. Okay. And then there is no sub-technique, so we can actually delete this section here. Now we have the tactic. All right, so we have discovery. If we click on this link, this will give us that ID that we need. And the TA ID is 0007 instead of 9 here. Okay. And at this point, we can delete all comments that we don't need. And this right now is good to go for our alerting. Okay. And what we could do is edit our validation script. Instead of using custom alerts, let's use converted detections. We can see our validation passed, so that's great. Let's do the same thing for our MITRE script. And no data. Okay. Just to test this out, why don't we edit one of these values here and we get the error as we expect. So at this point, we're good to go for our Nmap alert. Okay. And we're going to continue on in this process. So what we could do is just grab another template, check it up here. And now instead of our web scanner activity, let's look at our excessive web traffic alert. So for this one, the query is pretty simple. Let's put that in there. This is a threshold alert. Don't need tags. Let's do the same risk score and severity here. You don't need any notes. Get rid of some of the default values here. For name, we can do excessive web traffic. And there's our description. All right, moving on down here to the MITRE information. This is also the same techniques from our previous alert. So what I'm going to do to save some time is edit the information like that. we could delete these optional fields. Another optional field I want to highlight. This is our only threshold alert in this course, okay? But it does need a particular table to set for the threshold, okay? So what we can do is uncomment these values out. Let's actually throw this up here to make it easier to read. So instead of a host.host name and 100, like how this example says in our template, what we wanted to do was change our value to 1,000. And the field we're going to use is source IP. Okay. So again, let's run this through our validation. It passed. In our MITRE, that passed as well. So at this point, we have our first attack scenario accounted for. I'm going to go ahead and go through attack scenario 2 and 3 on my own time. And then I'll circle the video back and show you all really quick what I whipped up. But you all should have all the information you need. And if not, I'll have a link to all these in the GitHub as well. All right, fast forwarding now, we have our 10 detections all lined up nice and neat within our documentation. Okay. What we could do just to make sure this is all working how we want it, we could run these validation scripts that we've already written in this section. Okay. So first we could run our validation.py. And we can see the pass for all our files. And now let's double check our MITRE. We should get no prompt back. And there we go. All right, this concludes this section of the course. Again, I will have these in the GitHub for you to grab if you don't want to write these out yourself. Okay. But in the next section of this course, we're going to start working with the Elastic API. I'll see you in the next section.